Welcome back to an episode of Ministry Truth. I am your only host on this show. I will always be your only host on this show because if anybody else wants to come here, I don't know. Maybe. Just maybe. I don't know where I was going with that. Yep. This is live and living color. And we're going to go over really not much over today. It's Happy Friday Eve. Everybody, congratulations to making it till Thursday. All right. Now that we're done with that, we're going to go a few news segments because, you know, I like the news and there's a lot of fucked up shit in the news. Ooh, I didn't even make it 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Damn. Now this is going to get shadow banned. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I like to start off with a little bit of music every morning. If you've been here long enough, you know that. You know that. And oh yeah. OG's back. The OG channel's back. But none of y'all know it because they took all my subs, all 792 subs, and just gave me a channel back with 0. Have to start over on that other channel, but it's okay. It's not like I'm some big YouTuber. Anyway, let's stop talking. Let's get into the video. Oh shit, I didn't reset it. This first video, this is from the 90s. I believe it's from the 90s. But I liked it. You probably liked it. And if you didn't, I don't care.
Happy Days is filmed before a live audience. Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, you know what? I forgot. Go get yourself something to drink, something to eat, some weed, some cigarettes, your pipe tobacco, whatever y'all do, right? See, I'm slacking. It's Friday Eve. That's probably why. My brain's already shut down for the week. No big deal.
Live from Arnold's Drive-In and Milwaukee Fried Chicken Stand, you wanted to see it, brings you one of the most exciting events it's ever been our privilege to bring.
Okay, kids, Arnold's is proud to present Kenosha, Wisconsin's own Weezer.
Kenosha.
Oh,
Please be dissing my girl.
One and a two and a three and a four.
What's with these homies dissing my girl? Why do they gotta front? What did we ever do to these guys that made them so violent? But you know I'm yours, and I know you're mine.
And you're married Tyler Moore. I don't care what they say about that way.
I don't care about that. Don't you ever fear I'm always there. I know that you will. Your tongue is twisted, your eyes are slit. You need a guardian. And you know I'm yours. And I know you're mine. I know just like Buddy Holly. And you're married Tyler Moore. I don't care what they say about us anyway. I don't care about that.
Bang, bang, get on the floor. Oh, I probably should have done
I don't care about that.
that. What?
Stay tuned for more Happy Days.
Oh,
Bang, bang, knock on the floor. Another big bang, get down on the floor. Oh no, what do we do? Don't look now, but that's my shoe.
What's the matter, what's the matter, what's the matter, you?
What's the matter, babe? I'm feeling sick. What's the matter, what's the matter, what's the matter, you? What's the matter, babe? I'm feeling blue. We, I know just like Buddy
Uh-oh, and you're Mary Tyler Moore. I don't care what they say about us anyway. No, this is like karaoke. All right. I'll stop. Anyway, next up in the shoot is a news. No, this actually isn't news. Came across this. Think it's hilarious. Humor. Oh my God. Was this my humor video? Absolutely was. Get ready for some humor. And, men, you can learn a lesson from these guys, especially young boys. That sounded bad, but you'll see once you watch the video, you can see why they should learn lessons from these young men.
You're the light, you're the night, you're the color of my blood. You're the cure, you're the pain, you're the only thing I wanna touch. Never knew that it could mean so much.
That's right.
So much. You're the fear, I don't care.
I do this a lot, actually. It's crazy to say that.
Follow me through the dark. Let me take you past the satellites. You can see the world you brought to
Here we go.
life.
This is where y'all can learn a lesson. This is what I taught my kids from day one. Lights walking. There you go. Good boy.
So love me
And
like
then
you do. La,
never
la,
let
love me
anyone get on
like
after.
you do. Love me like you do. La la, love me like you do.
No.
Touch me like you do. Touch me like you do.
A former teacher aide in Kenosha County will be spending the next.
Whoops. So, imagine, if you will, you're a teacher or an educator in a state, and you have 4 kids of yourself for your own, but you decide, oh no, I think I want to have sex with, little boys. Well, she got caught. Not only did she got caught, she was convicted. And I don't see her getting out of jail anytime soon. And if she is, she's going to be old as
To
fuck.
50 years in prison.
A judge delivered that sentence for Anna Marie Crocker today. She pled guilty to sex crimes involving 4 young boys. 12 News' Hannah Hilliard has her emotional apology to the victims.
34-year-old Anna Marie Crocker,
I take full responsibility for what has taken
Well, did I say
place.
43?
a
I'm
once
sorry.
teacher's aide in Silver Lake,
Good
now
fuck.
a convicted child sex offender, in court Tuesday to learn her fate after pleading guilty to multiple crimes.
I am disturbed by the harm and distress along with the trauma that you have to endure.
Shut up, dude.
I'm deeply sorry that this has caused confusion, pain, and anger, and that you have to live with this the rest of your lives.
Investigators detailed her sex crimes against 4 young boys during Tuesday's sentencing. One, a 12-year-old she forced to
What?
have sex with her. Another, a
Yeah, you see that? Did you hear the magic words? Let me get Rumble set up, and then I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Listen to what this cunt says.
sentencing. One, a 12-year-old she forced to have sex with her. Another, a 14-year-old she lured out of his home to sexually assault.
She couldn't help herself. She was juggling all of these boys at the same time.
A court's order prohibited the recording of the victims and their...
this morning. So this court reporter, do you think he's a conservative with that hair? No. You think that he is actually, or he's actually a he? You think that's pretending to be a woman? I think it's a dude pretending to be a woman, to be honest.
Their families, but one mother told the judge, quote, "This person destroyed my son's psyche and loving and caring spirit." That family moving out of state as a result of Crocker's actions. Crocker, a mother of 4 herself, pleading for a lighter sentence.
No.
I'm asking for mercy and compassion, even though I understand the seriousness.
The judge ultimately handing down 51 and a half years of incarceration.
She sought out children, she used children, and she took advantage of children.
Crocker showing little emotion as she now heads to prison for the next half century. Crocker will be in her 80s by the time this sentence runs out. She must also now register as a sex offender for the rest of her life.
Done. Fuck around and find out, lady. 4 kids. 4 kids. Now, what I'm going to show you next has nothing to do with child sex crimes, but it's disgusting in its own fucking way.
Accused of killing her appeared in an Eaton County courtroom. Alexander Banks is facing 10 charges, including 1 count of first-degree premeditated murder. Good evening. I'm Ann Emmerich.
And I'm David Andrews. Besides that murder charge, Alexander Banks also faces 6 weapons charges. No bond was set for him today in court. News 10's Bobby Cushing joins us here in studio with more on this case. Bobby.
David and Ann, it happened near the intersection of Green Meadows Drive and Farmstead Lane on Friday before 6 p.m. That's when officials say Banks hit the family, killing a 3-year-old girl.
1, that you did deliberately with the intent to kill and with premeditation, kill and murder 1 H.S. This is a felony which carries a maximum possible penalty of life without parole.
According to court documents, Alexander Banks intentionally drove his car into the family, trying to hit the father. After crashing into a nearby yard, Banks got out of his car and started firing a shotgun. Prosecutors go on to say when Banks went to reload his gun, a 72-year-old woman ran at him, attempting to intervene. Banks hit her with a shotgun multiple times before running away. He was caught by police shortly after.
Good old tough guy,
Count
huh?
7. It is also alleged that you did make an assault upon B.C. with intent to commit the crime of murder.
Police say during an interview, Banks told detectives he had received online threats telling him he had to kill someone to save his family. Banks said he drove around the neighborhood a couple times and saw the victims walking. David.
All right, Bobby, thank you.
You have to kill somebody to save his family? That kind of sounds like a gang initiation or something to me. I don't know about you. That's just the way I see that. But, you know, I see the world in a different way. A different way. Which is bad sometimes. It's good sometimes. You decide. You're the adult. You should be an adult unless you're using your kid's account. Oh, I was literally looking at another camera over here when there's no camera over there. All right, let's continue. Let's go to Chicago.
Volunteers are not heard, concerns are dismissed, and there is a lack of transparency. The shelter conditions are unsanitary. Animals that arrive healthy are too often leaving on urgent status due to illness contracted inside the facility.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is the Chicago Conservative.
I like how he calls them out.
Good morning, City Council. First, I actually just want to apologize on behalf of Brandon Johnson for ignoring the young lady that was just speaking there, for speaking for the animals' rights. And let me continue here. I was watching one of your recent videos of you saying that you never told.
Dude's city's so fucked up. Well, he's part of the city, but Brandon Johnson's in charge. That motherfucker has time to go on Hassan Piker's fucking podcast. You know, Hassan Piker likes to abuse animals.
Told a lie.
And he's anti-American.
You raised property taxes when you promised you wouldn't. You promised that crime would go down when it's not. Reports of crime is down, though, but not crime within itself. I just want to let everybody know.
He made sense with that, because I never thought about that. Because, oh, crime's down, crime's down. He just made it clarified that they're just not reporting them. They're only reported crimes.
Know that. Crime itself is not down. Nobody voted for you to fund illegal migrants, Brandon Johnson, and we know this is happening because Melissa Hortman, a Democrat in Minnesota, voted against funding for illegal migrants, the only Democrat, by the way, and she was murdered for it. She was murdered actually by someone who was appointed by Tim Walz, sir. So I just want you guys to think about that as well. So we know this is happening, which is the main reason why the president is withholding federal funds in Chicago, because he is afraid that you will fund illegal migrants. And honestly, I'm afraid that you will do that too. How are you going to allow 9 janitors to be fired when you have 150 police detail and that costs you $22 million?
9 janitors. When he has a special police detail, like almost like an infantry company.
$1 million a year. You can't cut a few cops to save a few jobs? You mean to tell me your safety is that important, Brandon Johnson? Absolutely disgraceful. Instead, you want to hang out with a China-loving, dog-shocking communist like Hassan Piker.
Get him.
Why are you streaming, dude? People are out here dying. I'm serious. You was just on 79th, right? You saw 24 shots get let off. People are dying out here. You don't got time to stream. Do you understand that? And I'm being serious, dude.
I got time.
Absolutely disgraceful.
This dude streamed.
You want to defund the police, and your executive order means nothing. You cannot hold federal agents accountable, bro. It's called supremacy clause. That means federal law is the highest law of the land, okay? The executive order that you signed, that was a waste of time and ink, if I'm being honest with you.
Just like Newsom.
So we are American patriots. We are Chicago patriots. How many people have to die because of your poor leadership? Watch Dogs has recently found that we are actually $41.1 billion in debt. It's not even 1.5. So where is all the money going, Mr. Brandon Johnson? We want to know that. And I know it's Black History Month, ladies and gentlemen, but Brandon Johnson, you got to stop being racist, dude.
Get him.
This is a problem, man. Everybody is people. We all shed red blood. I understand
I don't share blood with anybody.
tribalism is a thing and stuff like that, but we are all the same in the eyes of God, Brandon Johnson. Stop being racist. It doesn't look good for you. Okay?
He never listens. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't. All right.
Now I'm
so this one's interesting. Because not only is this dude stolen valor, but he got caught. And then, you know, I was watching a live stream a couple months ago, a week ago, maybe it was a little while back. And Right Side Rebel, you know, was streaming. And I happened to catch this same interaction. I didn't know at the time he was a stolen valor piece of shit. I just knew he was a piece of shit that needed to have his face caved in. Because he's not a combat diver.
His records to the federal prosecuting attorney up there, because I know that's what that clown is going to do. He's going to claim he's a disabled man. He did it in the video. A mentally disabled veteran and honor PTSD and all this other shit. And you were a dental tech.
Oh.
A dental tech with some very poor service.
Wait, I thought he was a combat dental tech? No way. No fucking way.
Disgraceful, son of a bitch. Absolutely disgraceful. I got an awful lot to talk about today, so I'm just going to kind of get...
You know what? Fuck you, Clown Force. Fuck you. I still like you. But just for now, fuck you.
Warmed up here and take an easy one first. You guys remember that buried alive in the Beirut embassy guy that got a silver star for drinking water out of a pipe after he'd been buried in there? That Daryl Edwards. Well, Daryl was honored at a Florida.
Oh, I'm so glad you clarified that. I was about to send a hit team.
Florida Panthers hockey game. And then I went after him for it. And just total disgrace. Well, there's something about hockey games and phonies, because check this guy out. This is a 23-year decorated Special Forces Delta guy, Lieutenant Colonel.
Right.
At a hockey game.
23 years and he was only a lieutenant colonel? If he was Delta, he would have made colonel probably by year 16. 15. 23 years? Yeah. He has. I saw that late last night. bro, I'm going to send whoever I want. Matter of fact, I'm going to send, what's that Marine's name? I can't remember the fucking Marine's name. The one who looks like he has AIDS. Whatever. Continue.
Veteran of U.S. Army Special Agent Forces and the Delta Force, who served multiple combat deployments worldwide as an assault group officer and commander, including in Iraq and Afghanistan. Tampa Bay, please welcome and salute retired Lieutenant Colonel
So this guy wormed into this charity. They were giving him guns. He was the belle of the ball, standing ovations, the hero of the game shit. He got booted as an E1 for going AWOL. Made it into Ranger training, the RASP. He was at jump qualified, and then he lost his mind. So what do you do after you're what do you do after you're retired as a Special Forces colonel? You start peddling real estate down in Sarasota, Florida.
Yeah.
The damn thing about this is how hard I worked prepping for this guy to get him on the phone. And this charity, the guys that were outraged over this, it's completely outraged. They're getting their attorneys involved. Our attorneys want you to do it. You go at him. We want to keep our distance. Now, the charities, when I go after guys like this that you have turned into the belle of the ball, all the charities want to do is sweep it under the rug. They don't want to share the information of how they got duped because the donations are too precious to them. Your donations,
hard to recognize.
You have a responsibility to other charities out there and people that donate to them not to sweep this under the rug. You should be able to say, this is how this guy infiltrated us. So next time, because these phonies always prey on church groups and charities and all kinds of stuff. And that really upset me that that's all they were going to do with it. Just shh.
That's because they don't want the embarrassment.
That's flipping terrible, man.
If somebody had stolen valor, I wouldn't try to go behind. If I know, I'm going to let people know. In a very loud way. Fuck keeping that shit secret. I don't even give a fuck if you're in politics. Because some people lie about getting awards. Like Bronze Stars. Right, Wes Moore?
I have served many years as a Navy.
Definitely not AI. Definitely not. Hold on. Let me go get the full picture while this plays.
SEAL. And I have served with special forces all over the world. Australians, Great Britain's, the Thais, just everybody.
Once I figure out
and in this country, all the Green Berets, the Rangers, the Marines, everybody. And I have never, ever seen one of them or a SEAL threaten somebody that they were a Navy SEAL. I'm going to kick your ass because I'm in special forces. Never,
no one ever
not a single time have I ever
actually fake special forces guys like privates, infantry. Those guys like to, yeah, I'm special forces.
Phonies do it, and it disturbs me deeply when they do, to intimidate you, to back you down. There's only 3 times somebody's going to claim to be a Navy SEAL when they're not. To gain respect for something they never earned. They want you to oodle over them, buy them drinks, shit like that. Make a big deal out of them. The other one, a big one, is to build trust. They're going to tell you they're a Navy SEAL or a retired Green Beret, and they're going to roof your house, pave your driveway, and they need all the money up front. You're never going to see them again. Builds trust. I don't know why you trust any of them. But the big one is intimidation. They're going to intimidate you. They back you down. They puff themselves up like a cat that encounters a dog and will intimidate you. I can kill you with a rolled up newspaper or a plastic spoon, and it works. Now, listen to that. I've never seen any single Special Forces guy, SEAL, Marine, ever do that anywhere. But those phony shit, it bothers me.
He looks like he has hypogonosyphilades.
bothers me a lot. This guy, Travis Jurr, is the most disgusting, despicable, disgraceful sack I've ever encountered. And sadly, he served in the Navy Reserves and he served the Coast Guard for about 10 years. And he is all of this Antifa stuff in Portland, rioting up there and just calling people out. And he's just, what he does to this young lady, that she's a protester against the protesters up there. She does a good job up there. There's a lot of people that do
she's
it.
hot.
And the things he says and does to her is just atrocious.
And tell your boyfriend Enrique you can suck my rescue swimmer dick.
Huh? What?
Your boyfriend Enrique.
A rescue swimmer?
Dick.
Huh? What?
Your boyfriend Enrique Tarrio can suck my rescue swimmer cock.
But you couldn't tell him
Yeah,
that
he
when
was there like
here.
last week.
Because he ran. The
But
day that I showed my shit, he ran.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. You couldn't tell him that when he was here. Hey.
Correct. And I do it to your fucking faces.
And that's what Travis does. He goes floating around to these different protests and he puffs himself up like a cat and he throws out the rescue swimmer bit. I'm a rescue swimmer. You should be scared of me. And it's got enormous attention from all this anti-ICE stuff that, you know, he's a slob. He's a big, lumpy buck. And he's gotten a lot of traction. Well, Travis' traction ended a couple of days ago, right when I got his military records. Travis threatened to kill Donald Trump. Magazine
sure did.
dump a mag in Donald Trump and some other people up there, these anti-protesters. I don't even know what you call them. The ones that are against the anti-ICE protesters. I wish everybody that sent me a video to watch.
Bro,
put
the actual video is like an hour long and he put it in the description. And like I was watching, this dude's stolen valor all day long.
minute mark in there where they want me to go. Because
Big
I'm not going to
Clown,
sit there
that's
and
the
watch
full
an
picture.
hour-long video just because you said it. If this guy was painstaking, sending me exact to the areas of this that I needed to listen to, and I'll put it in the video description here, of how often this guy says he was in special forces in the Coast Guard.
There is no special.
This whole rescue swimmer crap, how many guys' lives he saved, how many times his life was put in danger, how many, the survivor guilt bullshit of his buddies all dying. And
I might actually do that whole video review.
he was a dental tech in the Coast Guard. He cleaned people's teeth.
Dude, I've got more time in service than this dude.
So before the Coast Guard, the Navy got a dose of this guy in the reserves. And then he transfers and he tells that because the Navy wouldn't let him save any civilians. And that's bullshit. If you're out there and there's a civilian that needs rescued and you're in the area, you're going to rescue them. So that's what he claims. He joined the Coast Guard for that. And he's got himself up as an AW second-class petty officer, and he's not. So they got Travis Jurr in federal custody doing a mental health evaluation before they throw the key away on this guy. He's never getting out of there. And a mental health evaluation is what they give to people they think are psychotic or nuts. He smoked too much of that crazy-ass weed they got out there. And I watched Dan Bernath do that.
Whoa. So I smoked that crazy-ass weed. Holy shit. Really? Actually, I could see that. I could totally see that. Because when my kids were like 10, 12, 14, they got to be a ranger for a day. To include firing 240 and riding in the vehicles and doing mini patrols. It was great. They loved it.
They sent him to the largest insane asylum in Virginia. And they got...
There's an insane asylum in Virginia. Is the food good?
The tease and cry. You're not going to get out of there for a while. They had him in the nut house for 4 months, wearing paper shoes and pants. And that's what this Jurr, because you threatened people, you were so antagonistic and just so, oh, that guy's disturbing beyond words.
Hey, Travis, you here for your court hearing today? Fuck off. Get the fuck out of my face. Oh,
whoa.
There's an assault. Travis is here for
Get near my fucking wife, I'll kill you dead. You understand me?
Travis is here for 2 counts of harassment for spitting in my face.
This is an asshole.
So he did some reserve time in the Navy. He's got himself up in this video as an AW-2. That's a helicopter crewman. AW second class petty officer. I don't fucking think so. He goes into the Coast Guard and he becomes a dental tech. He did that for almost 10 years. HS3.
Basically, he cleaned your teeth. He's the guy that cleaned my teeth. Well, not him specifically. They clean the teeth of, service members. Yep. Shitbags. Shitbags. Not even real soldiers. We can have fucking civilians do that through the American Red Cross. They get paid to do it. My niece does it. Oh. They pay for his goal.
For his time in the Coast Guard. He got out as a third-class petty officer, and he had 1 good conduct award, which tells me
that's crazy.
Your time in service, you should have had more than 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you should have been promoted higher than an E4. Hell, I was a chief petty officer in 10 years. I put his ribbon rack together, the awards that are in here. I put his ribbon rack together, and I've never seen a nastier bunch of awards.
That's fucking pathetic.
I have a real problem with ugly.
I had a ribbon like that when I think my 3rd year in the Army. That's pathetic. And a few of those are just gimmies. The bottom left, that's a gimme. Anytime, well, they don't give it to you anymore. But that's a gimme for when we were in wartime.
The military awards. And these are the ugliest ones I've ever seen. Coast Guard awards, come on, guys, man. Get those things redone. You'd have had some awards, the amount of people he claimed, the lives that he saved, the horrors he saw, how many close encounters with death he did. And that's how you never get a single personal award, not a Coast Guard achievement, not a Navy comm, not anything like that. And you didn't get a second good conduct award. You got your ass kicked out is what you did. And you suck.
Of the reserves.
You flipping suck. People contact me a lot about getting military records. They've seen the videos and they want to know how I can get them. My grandfather's records, my father's records. He served in Vietnam. And
yep. He's actually right about that. I'm about to pull both of my parents' record because I do believe that they were
Massey or Alex Jones.
One was supply. It's a woman's job. And my dad was personnel, which is a fucking dumb person's job. Pretty sure that personnel, their IQ was like 2. And that's because we gave them 15 points. We gave them 15 points and they still have a 2. Make that one make sense. That's why my dad was such a stupid piece of shit. Right? Right? Their combat was sitting way back in the rear. Even they'll admit it. Rear echelon motherfuckers. When real people, real soldiers were doing the stuff. Then again, they were in the Gulf War and there was basically no combat. Because the Republican Guards saw the Americans and they're like, you know what, bro? I'm tired of this shit. Come get me. And like, oh, we solved the Gulf War. We solved the Gulf War. If y'all solved the Gulf War, I wouldn't have to been there fucking 4 times. You piece of shits. Oh. Damn. I don't know where that came from.
Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Now we're going to go to another mass shooting in Rhode Island. And the shooter is very interesting. And I did find something that the shooter's son, he did something that, let me start this video. I need to find the shooter's son because he was a piece of shit too.
Police identifying the shooter as 56-year-old Robert Dorgan, who also went by the name Roberta.
Every single person who identifies or claims to be transgender needs to be classified as having a mental illness.
Yep.
That's the only solution. This is obviously a story right now. It's a story that's it's everywhere in the news, and for good reason. Yesterday in Rhode Island, the tally of trans shooters increased to 8 since 2018, and 2 within the last week. Yeah. 2 within the last week. So that's the new tally. Has nothing to do with trans, though.
No.
Now, let me go through those, for those of you who missed it, references available, link in the description. 2018, Aberdeen, trans shooter killed 4. 2019, Highlands Ranch, Colorado, trans shooter killed 1, injured 4. Colorado Springs in 2022, the non-binary shooter, I include it. A lot of these other stats don't. Killed 5 at a gay nightclub. 2023, Nashville, of course, you remember Audrey Hale, Covenant School. 2024, Perry, Iowa, gender fluid shooter, killed 1, injured 5 at a high school. 2025, Minneapolis, Minnesota, the trans shooter killed 2, injured 29 at Annunciation Church. And then this is 2026, Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, the trans shooter killed 8, injured 25. At home and, of course, at the Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. And now you can add to that list. Now, this technically wouldn't be a mass shooting, but
now his son isn't such a winner like he was. His son did something 2 years before his spicy faggot daddy did the shooting. Let's see what son does. Oh. Whoa. Pawtucket rink shooter's son set fire to a black church in North Providence in 2024. 2 years before Robert Dugan opened up fire at a high school hockey game in Pawtucket, the shooter's son sets fire to a predominantly black church in North Providence. Huh. Sounds like the fucking son is a real winner too.
I'm going to include it as relevant because the left does it. They massage these numbers anyway. This brings us to Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
This is the moment gunshots ring out at a high school hockey game in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Student athletes and people in the stands fleeing for safety.
It was a bang. I thought it was a pops. I thought it was balloons at first, but it was not balloons.
In the end, 2 victims and the suspected shooter were dead. 3 others were left in critical condition. Police say a brave bystander was able to subdue the gunman and prevent even more bloodshed.
A good Samaritan stepped in and interjected in this scene, and that's probably what led to a swift end of this tragic event.
Police identifying the shooter as 56-year-old Robert Dorgan, who also went by the name Roberta.
Right. So a couple of things here. I'm going to get to who this person is, what we actually know, dispel maybe some of the fake news out there. This, I guess, would fall under the reverse Nirvana fallacy, where people on the left would say, "Well, we haven't had a huge number of trans shooters, or anything like that. We haven't had a bunch of men in women's sports." That used to be, and it changed my mind in 2016. It's like, well, okay, just because this hasn't been the norm yet, you are assuming that it'll all be great. We're looking at warning signs and saying, "Oh, considering the comorbidities, considering the domestic violence rates, considering the suicidal ideation and attempts at suicide that are seen nowhere else in nature, maybe these people are showing us some warning signs as to mental instability, and we don't actually want to accelerate it." And now we are seeing these acts of mass violence occur at a very rapidly accelerating rate. It's hard to find empirical data on that because the powers that be don't want you to. So first, who is this man? Robert Dorgan also goes by Roberta Dorgan. So Roberta Dorgan, not to be confused with Roberta Dorgan, noted boxer of the infamous No Cox debacle fight. It was shameful for the people of Panama. The family, there are enough people around who remember Roberto Duran. He's okay with it. The family says that the shooter targeted other members of his family and that, surprise, had mental health issues. I'm not sure if they sort of uncouple the mental health issues, like had mental health issues aside from being, trans and believing.
But Robert also had a SS tattoo. Pretty big one.
That he was something that he couldn't possibly be. I'm not sure, but this is how it was described.
My father was a shooter.
What happened?
He shot my family, and he's dead now.
This woman leaving the police station, speaking with reporters, saying her father was the one who opened fire inside of the hockey rink.
He has mental health issues.
Any idea why he would have done this?
He's sick. He's very sick.
Yeah, clearly.
Yes.
And this has been going on for a while. So 2019, 2020, Dorgan underwent gender reassignment surgery. Yeah. The father-in-law threatened to kick him out of the home. He called him a slur.
Oh, no. So he has that open wound? The axe wound? Gross.
And he threatened to have him killed by an Asian street gang.
Wow, oddly specific.
But quickly changed his mind once he saw said Asian street gang. The Rady Boys are gonna rock 'em tonight.
I would have just pushed him over the edge.
We're gonna watch Roberto drop tonight. Now,
and our guest is backed out.
It's funny that no, she won't.
I'm kidding.
It's funny that we have to say this, and there's an argument over this person being mentally disturbed. Now, the argument takes place over, like I said, if this person was mentally disturbed, regardless or in spite of this transgenderism. Once upon a time, you would have gone, well, here's a picture, so clearly mentally disturbed, right?
Yeah.
Right?
See how the lipstick's up the cheek? Yeah.
That's what it would have been. Look at this picture. See? This boy's sick. See? Sick in the head. See? That's what it would have been if James Cagney was the one presenting it. But let me just ask you, does this person look normal to you if you knew nothing else?
Goodbye, penis. Ooh, ooh. Goodbye, penis. Ooh, ooh. Goodbye, penis.
There's the SF tattoo.
Sometimes in trying to avoid copyright, it turns out better than the sum of its parts. But what I also do find funny about this particularly disturbed transy is that they decided to do spreads that looked like an early 90s moto mag. Like that is their niche in front of the Lambo, in the female thong, in front of the motorcycle, right on the heels, by the way, of his upcoming motocross special on Disney+. The people on audio, you're missing out.
In none of those photos did he look like he was doing anything Latina.
No, he did not.
Right?
Yet his name is Roberta?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Roberta.
I like the name.
It's a very manly name.
Say it loud that my penis is shrinking.
That's gone. Jeez.
So let me
I could have
outline
gone the rest of my life without seeing him in a thong. Come on.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You didn't.
But yeah, but now you get that.
So, legacy media. Let's go to them. As of the time of this broadcast, or at least when we started, several outlets made no mention of the trans ideation here after it was well known, meaning it was reported everywhere else on new media, social media, and confirmed. So places that didn't mention it at all, because even though their job is to inform you, they didn't think this was pertinent information. The New York Times, CBS, Politico.
It's funny because legacy media is all about identity politics. So why didn't they put that part? Because, the first black woman to sit in a chair that was made in Russia is kind of the stuff that they would emphasize, that it was a first black woman or first Hispanic to actually pick a mango from another country that's not speaking Spanish. And then he had to put 10 of them in a bucket.
Since the identity has been revealed, there's been no mention on social media. The Krasenstein brothers, Harry Sisson, Brooklyn Dad, David Hogg, Hassan Piker, no mention of it because it's not relevant. It's not relevant even though this is the second in a week. And this is a thing that matters too. I understand, it's not lost on me. I understand that there are domestic disputes. I understand, once upon a time the expression going postal. Someone just had it and snapped. Those do happen. And
use that term.
Sometimes they're a white male. That would be most common, you'd imagine, because it's the largest demographic in this country. The reason that it matters if it's an Islamic terror attack, or the reason that it matters if it involves a trans individual, is because these people have told you their ideology. You don't have to go through the detective work of figuring out the motivation when they tell you. There are plenty of outliers, and there are plenty of single incidents of violence. Those are probably more. They're probably more numerous because they happen more frequently. Heat of the moment, right? Passion crimes.
Yep.
But as far as ideologically motivated crimes, if there's a pattern, that is important information if your duty.
They're not mentioning his race or his racism. Him and his son's blatant racism. They're not mentioning that part. It's just that trans, she, Roberta Flack. Damn, I shouldn't have done that.
Is to keep the public informed and safe. Does that make sense? You guys can comment below. And we'll be back tomorrow, as we are every day, 11 a.m. Eastern. Just tune in live. We still do this show live, and we can talk about it. Here is the Rhode Island Governor, Dan McKee, addressing this. Again, his job is to inform his citizens, make sure are there any other threats, what would keep you safe. Focused on gun violence, no mention of the outlying condition of the suspect.
Our state is grieving, again. As governor, a parent, and a former coach, my heart breaks for the victims, families, and everyone impacted by the devastating shooting at Lynch Arena in Pawtucket. I want to talk to the families out there right now. Too many Rhode Islanders know what it feels like to lose a loved one, a neighbor, or a friend to gun violence. And a tragedy like this is incredibly difficult for people of any age to process. Today, we are praying for Rhode Island and those who are suffering from this tragedy.
Well, good. You have all the need to knows. You can thank your governor, Rhode Islanders.
Oh, do you?
Let's go through some of the claims that are out there right now and narratives that people are trying to champion. Here's the first narrative claim. He did it because of Nick Fuentes or Thomas Massey or Alex Jones or something. Here's the truth. He did it because he's a lunatic. And how do I know he's a lunatic? I've seen pictures.
That's enough.
Yeah.
But there's more.
Yeah, and here's something else. He may, by the way, be a fan of some right-wing commentators. I'm sure if you took all of the trans shooters, and there are many, if you took all of the violent trans people, some would like country, some would like hip-hop, they all like Cher. I'm sure you would see that. But that's not what unites them. You know what is most important? Well, the good news is you know what's most important because the left has defined it as gender identity. This person is a lunatic because of their identity. How is it described? Gender identity. You made it central to their identity, not us. It's not a preference. It's not just something they do in their off time. It's not a hobby. It's their central identity. You have nonprofits to preserving, protecting, and spreading said identity. That needs to be addressed before the podcast that he may or may not listen to. And also, it's misleading by itself. Let me give you this X conversation that involves those players who are being mentioned. So Kevin Sorbo posted this. He posted, Tim McBride is a man. Community note this if I'm wrong. Okay, about that person. You remember Tim McBride? The shooter, Roberta, as he likes to be called, wrote, keep bashing us, but do not wonder why we go berserk. And that also, by the way, stems from feminism, right?
Yeah,
it's not your fault. Someone made you feel, therefore, if you go berserk, well, that's on them. Then Alex Jones in the same thread referred to Sarah McBride as so creepy. The shooter said, shut the F up, Alex. Don't be so butthurt over somebody different. Then wonder why trans people go effing berserk. Seems to like that phrase.
Yeah, he loves the berserk element of it.
All caps.
Yeah. And so that, I would say, is a sign of instability. Also dressing in ladies' panties, also mutilating your body, also just before you get to this, like the buzzword out there is narcissist. That's what all these women will say. Like, yeah, where are you in a relationship with a narcissist? And that means like if a guy combs his hair. How about a guy who gets off on people seeing him in a dress and he's willing to sacrifice his family? The left has said that's a virtue, by the way. Right. It goes back to feminism. It goes back to eat, pray, love. You can go, just leave your folks. Just leave abandon.
Your
so
children.
long as you're finding yourself spiritually across India, which, by the way, is bereft of any spirituality. They They poop wherever it falls, to be clear. So now it's, hey, how I feel is more important. We must
posted a few times. I haven't really checked the validity of it. But this lady was walking down one of the streets in New York City, and they're literally like landmines. There's shit everywhere. But I got to go double check that because I've seen it a few times.
things that used to be seen as virtues, right? It used to be like, hey, stay together for the kids. Then people go, oh, what? So we're supposed to stay together for the kids? Well, if the choice is that, or leaving and getting a sex change operation, and then living a life of complete depravity, why is it so silly for people to stay together for the kids? Why is the notion so silly of, you know what? It's not about me. It's not about me. That's how it used to be, under patriarchy. It's not about me. We're going to...
You think the hormones, that the estrogen that they receive might have something to do with this? Because they're not supposed to be taking estrogen?
Stay together for the kids. Okay, we'll have some twin beds and, we'll just keep this cordial if that's the best that you can do. 2, I don't like it, so I'm leaving. I'm going to follow my truth. And would we see this kind of mindset manifest itself in other statistical realities that tell us we are going the wrong direction? Well, let's look at the transgender, whatever it is, domestic violence, the relationship stats. So 43% of those in trans relationships admitted perpetrating intimate partner violence. Jeez. Ooh, that seems pretty high.
That's a lot.
43%. That's higher than the false bill of goods that feminists sold you. Well, back in the day, men used to just come home and beat all their wives and nothing was done. It was never true. It was a small minority. That's where whipping post comes from, because it was never acceptable to beat women. There were men who did it. It was never acceptable. You didn't get a 43% rate.
That's admitting to perpetrating it.
That's admitting to
That's
it.
not admitting to being a victim of it, which you'd think would be higher.
You'd
think that number would be a lot lower for perpetrators. Like, hey, I didn't do that. But no, they willfully admit it.
I would wager that if 43% admitted it, probably more have done it.
Yes.
That's what, yeah, exactly.
Not everybody admits to their crimes, it appears.
Yeah, I smacked a bitch.
He deserved it.
Also, 42% of trans adults have attempted suicide. 81% have thought about suicide. 56% have engaged in non-suicidal self-injury. 31% have drug abuse or substance abuse problems. And again, the suicide or attempted suicide rates don't really get any better after having an operation. Right. Keep in mind, so that's because of the mistreatment. It's higher than, and I've been making this point for years, it's higher than Jews in Nazi concentration camps. It's higher than American slaves. It's higher than blacks under Jim Crow laws. You think they're treated more poorly? The only other place where you can find a rate that even approaches this, paranoid schizophrenics. And even then it's debatable.
And this isn't to make fun or to tease. This is concerning that medical professionals aren't allowed to practice medicine the proper way, and they're not allowed to give these people treatment. They're supposed to just go, yep, sure, affirm.
Yeah,
you're not
exactly.
Crazy. Yep, a background check for a gun, totally fine. Go shoot up your family at an ice hockey rink.
Yeah. Anytime a guy is looking at doing something that's a little different, you look around to your friend group like, okay, is this acceptable? Can I wear this color shirt or something? It's pink. I don't know if my friends are going to mess with me. Something small like that. I want every trans person in America, when they look around to their friend group, they find loving people that tell them the truth that is not okay. Something is wrong. That is not who you are. I don't want them to find safe quarter, because then they end up like this person.
All right, you're talking too much. And obviously, I've got to throw in a street interview. Oh, okay. Well, good thing I haven't watched this yet, so it's new to me. New. No. I don't know why I keep going with that. But, ladies and gentlemen, I don't understand what that means. But okay, we'll continue. What's up, Gomez? How you been?
Lifetime commitment. It would be better for a child to be ripped apart in the womb than to be in foster care for 18 years. Foster care is a really messed up.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's better to poison them and dismember them in case they are in the system.
I would rather have a dead baby. I would rather have a dead baby on my conscience than a baby that has to live a horrible life and get traumatized and for the first
Accept
18
them, Ray.
years of their life.
So you just fuck them up in the womb and poison them?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Spare them those
Yeah.
18 years.
Spare them the 18 years, because honestly, sometimes I wish I was aborted, like right now.
Oh, me
Given
too.
the current
Not
state
me.
of everything in this world, I really wish my mom had just pulled.
Hi.
Hello.
What about these? Do you see these photos on here?
She's not talking to you.
Why
She's
not?
not talking to you.
Do you usually tell black women what to do?
No, but she is my friend, and
yeah,
she
those
has
are
already said
crazy.
she does not want to speak to you.
You speak for her?
Would you like? Okay.
Do you let a white liberal man tell
That
you
your
what to
master?
do
A
and
white
speak
liberal
for
man?
you?
What are you talking about? I do not wish to speak to you.
You don't even know who I am.
I do know who you are.
I do know
Thank
that
you for
shit yourself
watching.
at a frat party.
Yeah, that's crazy. A white liberal is telling a black woman what she can and can't do and speaking for her.
I love the intentionally inflammatory statements that you make.
Yeah.
Truthfully, it brings me so much joy.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
If you could grade Donald Trump's job so far, actually, you know what? We're talking about voter ID today. Do you think voter ID is racist?
What do you mean by voter ID? Like having to have an ID to vote?
Yes.
Hey, so we already have that. It's called a driver's.
Not a federal.
What do you mean not a
Do
federal?
you know what the SAVE Act is?
The SAVE Act?
Yes.
No.
It's a bill going through Congress right now that has passed the House, but the Senate Democrats are vowing not to pursue it because it's a federal ID law. Basically, in any federal election.
I'm so conflicted on this SAVE Act in the Senate. Because I'm 100% behind filibusters. I really am. However, when I was growing up, I always thought if it was 50-50 in the Senate, the vice president was the casting vote that wins. Don't know where this fucking 60% shit came from. Don't know. But you can still filibuster. None of this. Well, let's rephrase that filibuster. It has to pertain to the bill on the table. Because people like Cory Booker, the Timu Obama, not Hakeem Jeffries. He's the Brooklyn Obama. Remember that. Bro, I just forgot what I was talking about.
You would have to show proof that you are who you say you are. And you would have to, you're shaking. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, you're cool? Okay. Democrats are saying it's Jim Crow 2.0 to pass this bill, and they're vowing not to pass it, even though 84% of Americans support it. Do you agree with fellow Democrats that this is a Jim Crow 2.0 law?
I'm not going to say it's a Jim Crow 2.0, but we have driver's licenses. That is proof of ID enough.
Yes. And they're just asking people to take that to the ballot box and show their
They
ID.
do.
In Florida,
You know.
they do, but it's not a federal law. There's some
not.
places like in Minnesota, you don't have to do that.
Okay. Well, let's think about the repercussions. Some people, a lot of people, I feel like their driver's IDs may be expired, and just in general, there's a cost
That's on them.
in going and getting a physical ID. I know I've had like 3 IDs, not through like bad record or anything, just through like the pure bureaucratic process, and that was like $40 at least. Like I had to get like an ID or I think like an ID card, but not like valid to drive, and then I had to go
state
back get
ID.
it. It's very complicated because also insurance, all those different things to consider.
State IDs typically run $25. So, yeah. If you have somebody that can't fucking drive, but they need a fucking ID, they can still get a real ID. I know. The government had all my information anyway. Remember, I grew up in the military, and then I spent 20 years. And I'm still kind of paid by the military, so my information's already out there. The government has all of it. All of it. Almost all of it. I forgot where I was going with this again. God damn it.
And then I had to go back get it. It's very complicated because also insurance, all those different things to consider. And it's not necessarily like
But should people have to go through those hoops in order to say prove who they are to vote?
Already get a voter ID. Yes, the voter ID already proves who you are, and I believe you have to use your ID.
Let me explain the SAVE Act. It would be a federal bill, so it would apply to every federal election. Right now, in the state of Florida, we have voter ID laws. There are 37 states that have voter ID laws, okay? But not the entire United States and not for all federal elections. This would apply for all federal elections for every single American citizen. That's what changes. And not every state requires this, but it would now require it. And the Democrats are saying that it's a racist policy and it's anti-woman and that it's Jim.
Look at this. How do I switch screens? Look at this. I don't know why I just went stupid. Nebraska state IDs are free for all U.S. citizens. Non-U.S. citizens may pay a fee. And I know Tennessee's got it to where it'll tell you where if it's a non-resident immigrant. Georgia offers free voter ID cards through county registrar's office or Department of Driver's License if you lack acceptable photo ID for voting. Oh, it's free in Georgia? Weird. Idaho provides free state-issued IDs for voting purposes, accessible through DMV offices with recent expansions to make them more available. Oh, Idaho, it's free? Okay, we can go with this. Wisconsin has a free ID card option specifically for voting, if via petition process if standard documentation is lacking. Right, Wisconsin, free. Registered voters can get a free voter ID, photo ID from County Board of Elections or a non-fee state ID through the DMV. Oh, so North Carolina, you can get a voter ID for free. Got it. Indiana, free ID cards may be issued if you're at least 18, a U.S. citizen, and eligible to vote. Okay. South Dakota, free state IDs for low-income residents. Oh my God. Oh, yeah, that's where the ones that say, they're too poor to get an ID. Well, poor people get it for free in South Dakota. Michigan, no fee IDs for residents 65 or a veteran. We're not going to count that one. Virginia, starting July 1st, 2025, free IDs and related documents for youth experiencing homelessness with broader fee. Oh, well, we're not counting that one either. DC, fee on non-driver's license for... Okay. Well, those last couple didn't count. Pretend like those last couple didn't count. Boom. It's back to the show.
Crow 2.0.
Well, I think it's very convenient for you to be here and tell me and say that Democrats as a whole are saying that it's racist, this and whatever.
I said Senate Democrats.
Okay, Senate Democrats. I'm not too familiar, but I do know that just in general, adding another barrier when it comes to voting, I know that Republicans, their current strategy is to add as many barriers as possible to voting, which is what happened in the Jim Crow era. That's where that comparison comes from, and I don't think it's wrong to make comparisons. Now,
do you think it's a fair comparison?
I think it's a fair comparison.
Okay. Who is it racist against?
Hold on, I wasn't finished speaking because when it comes to, oh my gosh, my train of thought, sorry.
Well, that's okay. Who is it racist against?
He's not saying that it's racist.
He said it's a fair comparison to say Jim Crow 2.0.
He did not say that it was racist. He said it was a fair comparison.
You talk for people a lot, don't you?
No,
Go ahead.
He's helping me out. He's a friend, and it's completely fair. He's not a stranger. What I was trying to say was that, yes.
Is this dude a fucking handler? That's two people he spoke for. This thing. At least he doesn't have septum piercing. I mean, but he's still retarded. And then you have where he speaks for the black woman, because they're not even a full person. That's what he wants. They think that's what they're going to, and he's acting like it. That's why they think it's Jim Crow 2.0, because their master is telling them it's Jim Crow 2.0. Yes, massa.
the SAVE Act, I believe you're missing a few key points of information. It isn't just.
Can you give me those?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's also proof of citizenship to register to vote.
So,
yes.
like, and also I remember there being something about birth certificates being involved.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
All those are hard to get a hold of, especially if they're like copies and whatnot. Not people may have lost. Like, these sort of bureaucratic processes are typically with just like traveling and whatnot. Adding, and we're not traveling, this isn't a danger. Voting is a right for every citizen.
Okay, so voting is a right. You believe voting is a right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and sometimes it's hard to obtain certain documents that would get you an ID, proof of name change, or whatever to be able to engage in that right.
And it would,
Well, hold on,
it would
I'm not
negatively
done.
affect
Do you-
Got 'em.
those of poorer stature, and also people that are pressed for time as well.
Okay, so the presidential election is every 4 years. I think anyone is capable that if they care about voting, they could get the required things in 4 years to do that.
Yep.
Do you think that we
Hold
should
on.
have ID to buy a gun?
Yes. Hold on, wait. Before
Okay,
we
hold
do-
on. No.
Okay.
You think we should have an ID to buy a gun?
No.
That is also a right.
Oh.
That is also a right of American citizens to have firearms.
Yes.
So we should have updated and properly up to date licenses for that, right?
Yes.
Then why not voting?
Okay,
We do
there-
have
there-
to have-
there are multiple-
There are so many rules about proper voting
Yeah.
registration.
So
and
again,
IDs.
what I'm trying to tell you is here in the state of Florida,
Guy, listen, I don't think when they do a voter ID check or a state ID check, they don't check your name through the ATF. They don't check your name in the ATF. And they have to have those records for a very long time. I believe it's 10 years.
we do have that. In Minnesota, for example, they don't have that. So this would be federally
Not the
applied.
background check with the paperwork.
What you're saying is that anybody can just go.
No, that's not what I'm saying. In Minnesota, actually,
Yeah.
you can, one person who is registered to vote ahead of time of election day, they can vouch for 8 other people and come into the ballot box and just say, yeah, I vouch for them.
And
No,
vote
they
for
can they can vouch and say, yeah, that person lives in this precinct. This is where they live. They can vote. No ID at all.
So
And that would end that for federal elections. Doesn't impact state and local elections. But my point is that if you guys think that we should have IDs and proof of who we are to buy a gun, which is a Second Amendment right, how is it that the ID then is wrong to engage in the right of voting, which I don't think is a right, but to engage in the right of voting, why do we need an ID for that, but not something listed in the
I would love
amendments?
to explain this.
Okay,
I would love
go
to explain
ahead.
it.
Uh-oh.
So we're talking apples to oranges here. Yes, they're both rights, but thing is,
Listen, guys, why does it always have to be apples and oranges? Why can't we compare bananas to mangoes? Bananas to mangoes. I mean, I eat those fruits more than apples and oranges. And they're not even close to being the same kind of thing. See, that would be much better. We're not here. We're here comparing bananas to mangoes.
when it comes to voting, like guns are a danger to people. They just naturally are.
No, they're naturally not.
Hey guys, you're a danger to people. Yeah, I'd laugh at that shit too. I told them they're a danger to people because this faggot said it, and they just laughed at him.
There is no natural state of a gun.
You can't shoot somebody with a vote ballot. But let me,
But you can't. But a gun is not in its natural state dangerous to anybody.
What is the purpose
It's a
of
tool.
a gun? What is the purpose?
It's a tool.
Yeah, to protect yourself.
To protect yourself at the harm of another. It's a zero-sum game. It's not like you're sending warning shots. Like there's like when you're handling a gun, I'm sure you.
Oh my god. Let's replay that sound clip because I like the way he said that. Let's pay very close attention. We actually agree on this guy with me and this guy. Pay attention. You're not going to see it, but you're going to hear it.
Like you're sending warning shots. Like there's at the harm of another. It's a zero-sum game. It's not like you're sending warning shots. Like there's like when you're.
So this guy says I don't have to send warning shots. Duly noted. Duly noted. And I would never send a warning shot because that's just stupid. My warning shot is probably your knee. But
handling a gun, I'm sure you know, and I've handled a gun before, you have to be very careful. Anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do that Doc Holliday shit sometimes.
Yeah, 3 million lives are saved every year due to defensive use of firearms.
I'm not arguing whether or not the Second Amendment right should not be a thing or not. Sure. I actually think it should be. So I will digress from that point, and I will not let you distract me. So, because I'm trying to speak here. Yeah. So, voting. The issue is that we already have issues enough getting enough people to vote. Is that many people don't. Okay.
Let's see. 80 million. Democrats voted. 76 million Republicans voted. I'd say we have a lot of people that go out there and vote, bro.
Okay, you said it was very convenient, in my opinion, that if somebody cares enough, they have 4 years to go register, go through the bureaucratic process, which on paper is great. I think that's great if it was taught in a civics class. But in reality, I'm sure many researchers know, and every single time there's an election, we see just how many people don't vote. And whether lack of awareness, this or that.
Well, if they're not registered to vote, how do you know they're not voting? Because those numbers don't really work.
Adding more barriers just makes it harder for the people, like just people in general, to care about voting, especially if people are talking about bills or just get by, especially that's how Americans
Speaking of bills, you have to have an ID to register your utilities under your name to pay your bills.
That's
you also have
true.
to have an ID
That's
to
true.
apply to school.
Because they would ask for my ID when I would pay my utilities in person. I mean, I was really good friends with everybody at the water department, to include the Muslim police officer that worked at the water department, which is a weird place to have a fucking law enforcement guy just sit there.
Get loans and get housing. So when you talk about minority people, they also require an ID to sign up for welfare and benefits that the poor community and lower income people benefit from. So if they get an ID to apply for welfare and government programs, why should they not be able to have an ID to vote?
Because they need IDs to live. Like they need.
So they already have it.
Yes, but voting it's a right, but it's a nicety. It's you don't need it to live. That's why we need to bring awareness and make sure that
you don't need ID to vote, because you don't need it to live, but you need the ID to do everything else. So if you can't get utilities, you can't get a place to live, that really does make up. Holy shit, that was a Joe Biden moment.
You don't need it to live. That's why we need to bring awareness and make sure that we have measures in place to bring as many people to voting. Because yes, although you need an ID for other things like food stamps and things like that, you need those to live. You cannot go without those.
So they'll already have it on hand, and then they can go take it when they cast their vote.
Sorry, I wanted to ask you a question first.
Sure.
So when it comes to the SAVE Act and adding IDs to
Save America Act,
ballots and whatnot, do you have any, does it propose any sort of plans to increase mobility towards the elections, let's say public transportation, like buses, things like that nature?
I have not read anything about that. This is about securing the elections to make sure they are safe and only American citizens are voting.
Yeah, SAVE Act doesn't have anything to do with that. That should be on the states, you motherfucker. But then they can't. They can't pick them up. It's illegal. Pollsters can't pick people up.
And that people who say that they are this person, there's only one vote being cast by them, and they can account that this person is an American citizen. This person is voting one time ID to prove that, and there you go. 37 states have this already, and in Georgia, when they actually implemented voter ID laws, the following federal election, it actually increased voter turnout. There was a higher voter turnout than the previous year when there wasn't voter ID laws.
Oh.
Okay,
what was that election?
Well, that was Georgia. That's completely different. Was that for the 2020 election? Yeah, say it. Say it.
What was the second election and what was the first election for?
I'm not sure actually. That's a good question. But I'm not sure what exact election election it
more of a
was.
correlation between who we're voting for, the fact that they're better ID.
But more people voted. More people were able to obtain the necessary documents and the IDs. I don't comprehend how we
had those documents already on hand.
Most people do have an ID. And if you don't have an ID, and if you don't care enough to get it, I don't think you should be voting.
It's not just be caring. Everybody, you can be an American citizen, but to be too broke, be too like time starved, and like have
then
other
you shouldn't be voting.
No, you should be because it's
someone who is too broke to get an ID,
If you're an American citizen, you should
crunched for time that you can't in 4 years obtain an ID to vote. You have 4 years.
Okay, not everybody has 4 years.
Yes,
Literally everybody has 4 years. What are you talking about? Not everybody has 4 years. So what you're saying is they don't have 4 years because then when that 4 years, they die. That would make sense. But they're not supposed to vote if they're dead. Or are they? Because they died within that 4-year period, did they get to, is that like a cast? Does it carry over to the next election?
Everybody literally has 4 years between presidential elections.
My first election that I got to vote in was the 2020 election. I did not have 4 months to get all the necessary documents to get my voter ID, to get my regular ID, and everything else. I had 4 months. Now, I was very
Okay, but you got it done. When my daughter, both of them turned 18, they registered. They registered, and then they got their cards 2 weeks later. What are you talking about, bro?
lucky. I had the time. I was able to get everything done before Florida passed their own laws about changing how ID processes work. Not everybody is.
Okay, here's the thing. Everybody knows when election days.
Dude, I had college kids. They were in class all the fucking day. That's why they're progressing fast. Well, my oldest daughter, she's a quitter.
Everybody knows when they turn 18 that they're allowed to vote. Literally every single, and if you don't know that, you shouldn't be voting. You don't take the time, you don't care enough to, you have 4 years to do this. You don't care enough to have an ID, which I don't know who is operating in this country that doesn't have an ID.
So many people.
Then you shouldn't be voting. Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to look at the cameras when I say this because we have mentioned things for you to consider about, it's not just not caring about elections, things to consider such as time and money, things that are not equal for everybody. And you've continued to say the same things, and it's like talking to the wind. It's like I'm not talking to a human, and what I'm hearing, I'm saying one thing, and I'm getting back a talking point.
Yeah.
And I feel like that says something about your character.
If you don't have time in 4 years to get an ID, if you don't have enough money to save up to get an ID in 4 years, you should not be voting. You are not smart enough. You do not care enough. You should not be voting.
And see, that's very
privileged take.
That's very
That's
hateful.
a really privileged take.
Because the thing is, voting.
Well, yeah, because voting is a privilege.
Voting is a American citizen right. It's not a if you're smart enough right. It's not if you're rich enough.
He's saying that if you can't get a voter ID, that you're probably dumb. He said you're not smart enough.
Right, like able to afford it, right? It's
Then
an
let's
American
get rid
citizen
of
right. And notice
IDs
how
in
that's
order
not
to
what
get a
you're
gun.
saying.
Then no IDs to get a gun. No
Yes,
background check.
I agree. I agree. I'm with this guy. I'm with him. Especially when wow, bro. Since I live in this great state of Tennessee, I can get a tax stamp for a silencer for free. Not the silencer, I still got to pay the $1,000, but I don't have to pay the stamp fee anymore. Love you, Tennessee. Love you.
Again, comparing apples to oranges.
Nope, it's a right. It is a right to have a firearm.
Harm with a firearm. harm.
Yeah, you can do
cannot
harm casting
with
a vote, especially slaughter of unborn children in the womb. You vote to support that, that is more harmful than buying a gun.
I do vote to support that because at the end of the day, it's about a woman's right to choose. It's not about
Whoa.
the unborn clump of cells that
Wait, how did we get back to abortion? They must have lost the argument on the ID.
is not a person.
Yeah, what is it?
It is not a living human being.
Okay, what is it?
What is it? It is a fetus, which is
Yeah.
scientifically.
It's of what?
It is a fetus.
What type of fetus?
It is a person. At one point, it will be a person.
So what is it beforehand? It's a
It is
fetus.
a fetus. It is just a
what
fetus.
type
It
of
is a
fetus?
clump of cells.
What type of fetus?
I just responded to that.
What type
I
of fetus?
just
Is it a
said
pig?
that. No, I
Is it a
just said it was
hamburger?
a person.
So it's a
But it is
human
not.
fetus.
But it is not living. It is not breathing. It is not conscious.
Right.
It is not
no.
a person.
Yeah, you just said it was.
No, it. You're asking what kind of fetus it is.
Yes.
It is going to be a human if it is carried to term.
Okay, so
but
at 20 weeks, what type of fetus is that?
it's still a human fetus.
Yeah.
But it is not a human. It is not a person.
So how is a human fetus not a human?
It's not a. It is not conscious. It does not. It cannot survive on its own.
Yeah, well, that's funny. You're right. It can't because its rightful place is in its mother's womb. That's where babies are conceived and where they grow for 9 months. That's science, guys. We know what that is. But if it's a human fetus, how can it not be a human person?
So I would
No, go ahead.
Okay, good.
I do not hold the belief that a fetus is a person. I do not believe that we should base a woman's life off of the fact that she can have kids and off the fact that she might be pregnant with something that cannot sustain on its own.
Yeah.
Up until a certain point, I believe that you should have the right to choose on whether or not you have an abortion.
What's that line?
Whatever, is it 32, whenever the viability of the child is.
Whoa. In some states, in some countries, it's as low as like 18
let's
weeks.
say states, not countries, because we are focused on the U.S.
Yeah, well, humans are all over the world.
Yes.
Give me a second. Okay, sorry, it was skipping. At least I thought it was skipping. Because it was on my end. Well, as I'm looking, whatever.
So point of viability depends.
What we are arguing right now.
Point of viability depends on what medical instruments a certain hospital has. So a child could be born at 20 weeks and still survive. But in some other states, they might have enough equipment that where at 18 weeks, a child could survive. How are those children not children just because they were in their mother's womb? It's a matter of location.
It depends. What I think is it depends on how it affects the parents, not just the woman, but the mother and the father. I don't think that abortion needs to be readily available to just like, oh, I forgot to take a plan B, let me go get an abortion.
Why not? Why do you believe that?
Because I do think that it's a very invasive medical practice that does have its own risks. However,
I've heard that it's super safe.
friend.
I've heard that it's super safe.
Uh-oh.
But if that's not a human, and it's just a clip of cells, why do you think it shouldn't be readily available for someone to use as contraception?
Because it is an invasive medical procedure.
But that's her choice, right?
Yes, she should have the choice to get that. I do not think
But it shouldn't be readily available for her
I did
as
not say it should
contraception.
be readily available. I said it should not be used as a form of contraception.
Why?
It's not. There are many other things that you can do. It's expensive. It's invasive. It does carry its own risks that other forms of contraception do not.
Okay, so this is very interesting.
That is interesting. Can't use it as a form of contraception. Let's see where this goes.
know why you don't think it should be used as contraception because you know that is a person in there. Only human beings can conceive human beings.
I did not say that I thought it was a
you
person
know
in
it.
there.
Yes,
No.
you did.
You're
You
speaking
did say
for me?
that.
Oh, look.
You know that.
Now the white Republican is speaking for the white man since
Yeah.
you want to bring that topic into
Well, yeah, because 51% of the country is women, so yeah, she's allowed to talk to you like that, boy. And you think you're a fucking girl, probably. I know you're a Peter Puffer.
Conversation.
Yeah, I'm only repeating exactly what you
That is
said
not
that
what
you
I
believe
said,
in.
and you can roll it
There's a
back.
reason why you don't think it should be used as contraception. What reasons would be allowed for a woman to get an abortion?
I think she should be allowed to get an abortion if it is due to her health. If she just chooses, like, hey, I'm not financially stable enough to have a child.
Okay, I'm gonna
Like, that's, you should be allowed to just get it if it is either medically necessary or financially necessary for you, because you have to take care of yourself.
But if she said, "Oh,
He's
I slept
shaking.
around last night, got a little tipsy, I didn't use protection," then
That is her choice. Then that is her choice.
But she shouldn't be doing
no,
it.
I don't care, because at the end of the day, it is her choice.
I know that you care, and I know that you think it shouldn't be contraception.
Yo, how did he go from it shouldn't be used as contraception, which that's a majority of what they're for. That's a majority of what they're for. But then all of a sudden he doesn't care. I mean, I get it. It's the woman's choice, but I don't think it's right. Somebody's a Christian.
Because you know that's a person in there, and you admitted it multiple times. And what a shame. So this is how a vote can be more dangerous than someone acquiring a gun. This is how it could be more dangerous. Your policies, the things you support, have killed 60 million children since Roe v. Wade. Thank God it was reversed, but it's still happening. And so you support policies of genocide. I support gun ownership because people defend themselves with it, including their unborn children. So your vote is more dangerous than anyone with a gun.
You really executed your talking points well. Okay, so
Thank you, I appreciate that. Anyway,
hold on, wait.
we good?
I think a multitude of perspectives is. Okay, I would like to talk on this point because when it comes to like the start of the conversation, I kind of tuned out once you guys were going back and
That's
forth.
fine, yeah.
So, going back to the beginning of this conversation, hold on, guys, you guys are kind of distracting me.
Sorry.
Thank you.
We
we can
good?
just.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. When it comes to talking about the abortion, like just abortion in general, and differentiating between fetus and personhood and children,
Yeah.
I think that's where it gets very messy, and I think that's where it's very easy to make it a very charged conversation where it should not be. Because looking at abortion through a scientific lens and like body health lens, that's where the language is specifically a fetus. A doctor talks about that,
Wouldn't that be the same thing? It's science, bro.
I guess a fetus in your belly, as a fetus. Just like when they talk about like a dead body, or like it could be a corpse or whatever. You know, like these are scientific terms, and that's why it's talked about in like weeks and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
That's just how old they are.
Science, bro.
Weeks in
And-
gestation, like 23 weeks. That's just how old the baby is.
Yeah, and that's what you believe. And
But am I wrong? But what do the weeks mean?
I just think I disagree that I don't think it's sensible to think that everybody will see a fetus as a child or a person when they're still in the mother's womb.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know that not everybody sees it that way. That doesn't make it not true. It doesn't matter if there were a lot of people who saw black people as not humans, and that they could be used as slaves.
Or 2/3.
And we could dehumanize them. They were only 3/5 of a person at one time.
3/5,
And that
not
was
bad.
more than what they were the year prior to that enactment. That doesn't make it true, though. We know
No,
that black
scientifically,
people
no.
just even morally and ethically.
Yeah, morally and ethically.
Black people have always been people. They've always been a whole person created in the image of God, meant to be here on this earth on purpose. We all know, even if not everybody agrees, that two human beings can only create another human being. There's no other thing that baby inside could be. It's just not possible.
Yeah, no, it
it's
is a
literally
human
not
fetus,
possible. It's a human fetus with rights, because all humans deserve rights. If we believe in human rights, we have to start at the moment humans exist, which is at conception. And it really bothers me. I've had 2 children. I've never once been to a doctor that calls my baby a fetus. I've never once heard a heartbeat and said, "Oh, we found the clump of cells beating its heart all by itself because it's just a dead clump of cells and it's not alive." Never heard that language. That doesn't happen because we all know what women are pregnant with, which are children.
It's true. I have not been pregnant before, and I have not been to a doctor for pregnancy.
Yeah.
So
Why haven't you been pregnant before?
because I'm a guy.
Yeah.
But
Oh, got him. I agree with him. He's finally got that right. See? Maybe he's a smart liberal, but that's an oxymoron.
and that's what I identify as.
Yeah. Well, you can't identify as anything else. You are a man.
If I identified as something else, there are options for me to go about changing.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if that
you're
means
not
I
a
can be
woman.
pregnant. Take it back.
You'll never
But
be
me-
pregnant because you're not a
Take it back.
woman.
Me, Nelson, I'm not.
No,
So yeah, I'm in full agreement with you. Yes, of course. I do think it's very understandable that a doctor would not say to your face that fetus in your.
But why not, though?
Because more than likely that doctor can tell from your standpoint, and also just in general, it's rude to simplify something that will be a child into something purely scientific. Just like in the past argument, you were comparing using black people described as slaves and whatnot, which yes, scientifically we know that we're not. There's also moral and ethics. You would not go around calling black people slurs or derogatory names,
that?
whatever. Not just because it's moral, but specifically baseline, it's scientific. And when it comes to abortion, yes, like you can, like, it's understandable to call a child like or a fetus, a child, whatever. And it, look, even I will say it because colloquially, like it's understood as someone's pregnant. Okay. With a child or whatever.
With the Nailed baby. It. Do they deserve rights,
That
though?
being said, scientifically, it is still in the mother's womb, and it is not out of the womb yet, and not out a child.
Can I respond to that, actually?
Yes, you
So
believe-
when I'm sorry, is that okay if I respond?
I just wanted to agree that so I just want to point out the crux of the issue
Okay.
or the disagreement.
We'll come back to
is,
that argument.
Yeah, is that child or human rights begin at the moment of contraception, and conception. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I know what you meant.
And then for me, I believe that it happens once the baby is delivered.
Okay.
And I
So-
think that's the crux.
Okay, so if someone is on the moon and they're wearing a spacesuit in
We've
order
never
to
been on the
survive on the
moon.
moon, are they a person?
Yes.
Yeah. Even though they're on the moon.
They're born like they're here on this earth.
Yeah. Well, they're on the moon.
They're on the moon. Or on the moon.
Yeah, but they wouldn't survive in that environment without a spacesuit, right?
I think that's irrelevant. I think.
No. Just answer yes or no.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so a fetus, I'll use your terms, a fetus would not survive at a certain week's gestation if they were outside the mother's womb, because that's where their environment is at that stage of development. We were all fetuses at one point. Now, if we took that fetus out of the environment that fetus is supposed to be in, they would die because that's not where they're meant to be. Just like if a person was put on the moon without a spacesuit, it's not their environment, but that doesn't mean they're not a person on the moon. When you have a fetus in the womb, that's the environment. It doesn't make them not a person. It just means that that's where they're meant to be at that stage of development.
Absolutely, and I think that's a great point when it comes to human rights. Because let's say when you have like a baby that's born prematurely,
right?
I don't think you should just kill them. No, I think absolutely, if like that baby's already here, it must be fought for, whether the parents care or not.
But why is it you are okay with aborting children in the womb that weren't born prematurely at the same
Because
age?
at that point, it's still a choice. It's still in the womb. It's not out and a living being just yet.
So what makes a person a living? Because it is a living being, actually. Women, when their babies die inside, it's called a miscarriage.
Yeah,
that is
Yeah.
very tragic.
It's very hard.
That's when the fetus has died.
Yeah.
Women are not pregnant with random dead clumps of cells. If we can use the clumps of cells argument. It's still living. That's still a living. It meets all the.
Grown, yeah.
It meets all of the qualifications for signs of life. It responds to stimuli. The cells are rapidly growing and differentiating and stuff like that. Metabolic processes are happening, so it's not dead. It is alive. They're just small.
Right.
They're just small, but there is no other possible way except for an act of God for a person to be created. If you can point to me where a person has been created without being gestated by a woman, I will concede my point. But there is no possible way for a human being, a person, to be created besides an act of God
I don't
and a
disagree,
miracle.
I
But
agree.
that's where people began.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of test tube babies? Incubators? Wait. Have they tried that? They should try it. They should try it. Maybe we could make them clones. I'm telling you, if I had a clone of myself, that would be great. But they'd have to clone me from like right now. Because if they cloned me as a, when I was like, if I was just born, that would suck. Or, no, that would suck. But if I was born like a kid, but I had all that knowledge, they still had all that knowledge, bro, that clone could solve cancer. Oh, that's already been solved? It can solve AIDS. Oh, that's actually already been solved too? I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Because at that point, I will literally be... My clone is supposed to be the all... God damn, this dry mouth will have all the knowledge of the world. I like it. I like it. Imagine him going through school, knowing more than his entire school at kindergarten. He could graduate high school. Think about it. At like 12. Super genius. Super genius. But his only problem is he'll smoke weed. He'll be the most smartest man in the world, and he'll be a pothead. Look at that. I can solve world hunger as a pothead.
And that is all it is. And they are persons. And do you guys believe in human rights for everyone?
Yes, I do. Now, and that's the thing when it comes to.
But you don't, though.
No, I do agree.
You don't.
But there's a complication because when a baby's in the womb, you're arguing that the baby has human rights.
Yes.
I understand. But also the woman does at that point too. So there's a clash. And I know and I know probably there's a lot of legal arguments in that gray area there. But the reason why I hold my view is because I know on a society-wide level, well, there's two important factors. So before I get to my big statement, I want to also point out that I'm pretty sure abortions are not allowed until a certain point when the baby in the womb is too developed.
Not in California, not in New York, not in... I don't know what current laws are because they're changing all the time, but California and New York, you can get an abortion up until the moment of birth.
Same in Minnesota.
I didn't know that.
What's the statistic on people actually doing that? What is the statistic on people getting third trimester abortions?
It's about 3,000. Yeah, it's about 3,000 a year.
3,000 a year?
Yep, 97% of abortions are committed in the first trimester for, for elective reasons. So it's not like their life is in danger. It's not like they're being abused or anything. It's just because they don't want the child.
So
hold on. Sorry. And I feel like that's a really good point. And honestly, I will use that statistic myself. So you said 97% of abortions are in the first trimester. So I think preventing abortions in that early stage before the baby's really developed and grown and whatnot, because we tend to focus so much on the end of pregnancy and birth in abortion topics when in actuality 3% of abortions are in the second or third trimester.
No, 3,000.
3,000, yeah.
Late-term abortions happen every year. They're still opening late-term abortion facilities.
You said 97 happen. Okay.
Yes.
But it's very little. So when we talk about abortion.
Well, if 3,000 people were killed by ICE agents every year, would you have an issue with that?
Yes, and plenty of people are being killed by ICE agents, which I do have an issue with.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people being killed by illegal immigrants. So if 3,000 people were killed by
American citizens.
Okay, so yes, I know abortions are being performed. The number one cause of death in this country is abortion. Kills over 1 million children every year. Over 1 million. That's a genocide. So if you have an issue with a hypothetical 3,000 people every year being killed by ICE agents, you should also have an issue with the 3,000 children in the third trimester being ripped apart in the womb and killed and their brains suctioned out.
Okay, so if there are 3,000 late-term abortions, and you said that 97% of the abortions are usually done within the first trimester for elective reasons, what is the statistic of those 3,000 abortions?
No, but he said it shouldn't be used as contraception. That would be the first trimester. Whoa, dude. Whoa, stop. Stop. Just shut up. just shut your faggot mouth up.
Being for elective reasons versus medical reasons.
So it's funny when you look at how they categorize this, they always say mental health and medical reasons for a late-term abortion. Well, your doctor could just say, oh, your mental health is a reason why we could go through with this abortion, and they sign off on it. The baby's healthy, you're just struggling mentally.
Okay,
and then you could have an abortion.
Okay, so you did not answer my question.
Oh, I don't know the statistic. I would assume 100% because that's typically what the law says. They claim it's for medical reasons that late into the pregnancy. However, their medical reasons could just say a doctor writing it off for mental health, which is not a reason to commit a third trimester abortion or any abortion, but especially a third trimester abortion.
I'm gonna jump in a little bit because let me just say I've been sexually assaulted.
I'm very sorry about that.
I'm sorry. But I'm just saying. So if someone has been sexually assaulted, and you go about, a lot of the times pregnancy is very different for every woman. A lot of the times you don't even know, you don't even realize, because we have to go through so much. We're very busy, and I think it is a little bit of a privileged take just to assume that people are getting abortions just for you're making it seem like people are getting abortions for the sake of getting abortions, but there's so many reasons where in this society women cannot raise children.
Uh-oh.
I got the fire hose. Start spraying everybody.
Spray them.
Oh my God, is there another car fire?
Hose them down.
Anyways, there are many reasons besides mental health to where women in their third trimester would have to abort a baby, because...
Tell me what mental health reason would justify a third trimester abortion.
No, I said besides mental health.
Okay.
Do
you think mental health is a good enough reason to abort a child in the third trimester?
Well, it could be.
Describe a third trimester abortion to me.
Okay, so it could be a lot of the times, a woman may not realize she's pregnant,
Describe a third trimester abortion to me.
I've never been pregnant. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
But if you're going to say that it's okay in some circumstances, describe the procedure of an abortion in the third trimester. Describe the procedure.
Many people are living paycheck to paycheck.
She's answering.
People live paycheck to paycheck.
Describe how a third trimester abortion is performed.
The complication in the
I don't know. I don't know.
You know what they do? They bring the woman into the hospital or the abortion clinic. They give her Pitocin and other drugs to start labor. To start labor. So she's already going to be in labor anyway. She labors for 3 days as they administer drugs into the baby, right into the baby, into the amniotic fluid, and into the baby's skull to kill the baby and stop a heartbeat. And then they go in with instruments, with tongs, with claws and spikes on the end of them, and they start ripping the baby out. And they start counting to make sure they have 2 legs and 2 arms and 10 fingers. And then they stick a suction in there to get the brains out. They crush the skull to make sure that the skull comes out all as well. Because if not all of the baby comes out in every little piece, the woman could go into septic shock and she could die.
That's a terrible thing to happen.
Is that ever okay? Defend that.
Okay. That sounds like an extremely traumatic process.
Yeah.
In turn, if a woman is willing to go through that process to not have a baby, there is a circumstance to where they cannot raise that child.
Yeah.
I would.
Wow.
It's traumatic for the woman. It is. Wow. Yes, it is harmful for the unborn baby. It's an awful situation for everybody. Unfortunately,
either way, it's going to be traumatic. In my opinion, it's just my opinion, but psychologically, if you've had some baby growing in you till the third trimester, I don't know. I lost my train of thought, and I know why.
That is the route that women have to go through instead of raising a baby. A baby is a lifetime commitment.
So why does that baby have to be crushed and suctioned out to death and poisoned to death instead of just getting a C-section in the third trimester and giving that baby care and adopt it out? Or even, it would be so much better for that baby to be in the system for 18 years than to be crushed and poisoned. No, it would be better. It would be better for a child to be ripped apart in the womb than to be in foster care for 18 years.
Foster care is a really messed up
Yes.
system.
Yeah, so it's better to poison them and dismember them in case they are in the system.
I would rather have a dead baby. I would rather have a dead baby on my conscience than a baby that has to live a horrible life and get traumatized and for the first 18 years of their life.
So you just fuck them up in the womb and poison them?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Spare them those 18 years.
Spare them the 18 years. Because honestly, sometimes I wish I was aborted. Like
Me too.
right now, given the current state of everything in this world.
Do you want to be aborted right now? Okay. Good to know.
I really wish my mom had just pulled trigger.
If you were in college, you're on a college campus right now, you're getting an education, you're dressed very well, you have nice headphones there, you are not struggling for anything. You've got jewelry, you've got nice sunglasses on, you're here at a college campus and you're going to look at us. You talk about privilege. What a privileged thing to say that you wish that your mom had just killed you because you're doing so poorly. You're at UCF right now. You're a college student getting an education.
UCF
things are
is not that great.
it's so
UCF
bad for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so bad for
I
you.
have plenty of my own shit. You can't look at the fact that like, oh, I'm at college. My college is paid for because of Florida state laws that allow people to get affordable access.
What an even more privileged thing to say.
And you had to have an ID to get that, didn't you, buddy?
Hey, so your college is free.
Not just me. That's not just me. That is half of this campus, at least.
But
I am also actively demonized as a queer person because of the fucking political climate.
How so?
I've been hate crimed.
Yeah.
I have been hate crimed.
You know what? Somebody calling him a faggot was probably the hate crime.
What hate crimes have happened to you? What?
Yeah, people.
Are you serious? This is Caitlin Bennett, bro.
People assault me all the time because I'm a Trump supporter and a conservative, and I am a pro-lifer and everything. Anyway, I appreciate your conversations. I think all three of you, are perfect in the image of God, and you were made on purpose to be here, just like every other.
They're fucking retarded. All right. Anyway, that's about it. Actually, that is it. So, yeah. Nobody's here. Bye. Bye. Have a nice day. Not telling you how to think. Not telling you how to think. Definitely not telling you how to think, because then you might get canceled if you care about that kind of stuff. But I'm just telling you to think. God damn it, just think. Maybe, just maybe, I'm too stupid to get an ID. Too poor. Too American. Oh, look at that.